All are equal, but does it appears from time to time that some are more equal than others? This is the punchline of the book Animal Farm by George Orwell. We have already done 1984 by George Orwell, which was also a political satire. Before commenting on anything political happening around you, or if you have even the slightest of interest in the domain, then please consider reading these two books. In our today's book, there is a farm of animals where pigs, donkeys, horses, etc. everybody lives, and as today's farms happens that there is one person maintaining the farm. So in this animal farm there is Mr. Jones, who names the farm as Manor Farm. Now in the Manor Farm there is also an old male pig. The male pig, he gets a dream, and in his dream he sees some things which he wants to share with the fellow animals. So he arranges a meeting in the night time when Mr. Jones, who is the owner of the animal farm, he is sleeping, and everybody gathers. In that meeting he says that, see, we have enough, right? For example, in today's time the world has enough for everyone, then so why people are sleeping hungry? So similarly he talks about the animal farm, that there are many resources, the soil is fertile, but still why the animals are living hungry, they're working for long hours, and eventually what happens, they are sent to the slaughterhouse. So why this is happening? So let us do one thing, let us go for a rebellion. Okay, however, he was already old in age, so after some time he dies. So the rest of the 3 nights later, only the old measure, he dies peacefully. So after his death, there are the other pigs who carries on this rebellion, and other animals of the farm. And Mr. Jones, in the beginning of the book itself, he was drunk and he falls asleep. Then in another event, he was so drunk that he forgot to give food to the animals, and again he fell asleep. So that night what happened is that all the animals, they revolted, and even though the men tried to stop them, tried to beat them up, but they did not stop that time. The revolution did happen, and finally they uprooted the humans. They had to flee, they had to run away, and the farm was managed by the animals itself, and they renamed it from Manor Farm to Animal Farm. And now animals are living happily and peacefully, and 2 main characters are there. One is Snowball, snow as in white, as in he wants more development, prosperity. He wants to build a windmill from where electricity will be generated, and the life of the animals will be prolonged because they don't have to do hard manual work all the time. The energy from the windmill will be helpful, and all this progressive idea. The another person, Napoleon, he is more of, he wants power, he wants dominance, and of that mindset. And most of the time Snowball and Napoleon will argue among themselves. So from this human dominance to human dominating over the animals, now this is the time where even though animals are only managing the animals, even within them also these 2 sectors have developed. On one side Snowball is there, and on another side there is Napoleon. And there used to be there is a dedicated song, there is a dedicated flag, and they also have 7 commandments they have the 7 commandments written on the wall, that these are the rules of this animal farm, and these are very important. In the end you will realize why. So they writes, whatever goes upon 2 legs is an enemy. That means humans go upon 2 legs, so enemy. Whatever goes upon 4 legs or has wings is a friend. So on 4 legs, say pigs and other animals, and birds who has wings, they are friend. No animal shall wear clothes. No animal shall sleep in a bed. no animal shall drink alcohol, no animal shall kill any other animal, and all animals are equal. Please remember these points, like it is on the basis of equality they are starting this animal farm, which is quite evident. Okay, and now in the farm, step by step things happen. For example, number one, now animals are ruling over animals. What happens is, the apples, the early apples which are ripening, the milk from the cow, that is missing. So people think that obviously the pigs will not keep them, right? So it will be shared among all the animals. So what happened to them? So eventually Napoleon and his say spokesperson, you can imagine in modern times, Squealer, he comes up, Squealer, who is the spokesperson of Napoleon, he comes up with an explanation that, see, anyhow, we pigs, we dislike apples and milks and all these things, okay? But scientifically, it is good to preserve our health. In fact, I myself dislike these apples and milks. But since we are the brain workers, and since we have to, make everything good for you guys, and we have to work our brains, that is why we have to drink the milk and eat the apple for your sake. It's not that we want to drink the milk and apple, we are doing this for your sake. And surely you do not want Mr. Jones to come back, because if we are not going to work our brains, Mr. Jones may come back. You do not want that, right? So everybody, yes, we do not want Mr. Jones back. So theek hai, chalega. You eat the apples and the milk and run your brain, and step by step from apple to milk to the house where the humans used to live, Mr. Jones used to live, that house which was initially meant to be a farmhouse is now the place where the pigs are living. They are sleeping on those beds, and such manipulations happen. In Assamese, there is a saying, "Lonkat jai sobe rabon," which is like, in Lanka, everybody, if somebody will get that power, no, then people will tend to be Ravan. I think the closest English version will be absolute power corrupts absolutely. So now the pigs are getting this absolute powers. They start keeping guard dogs, and even eventually what happens, those guard dogs, remember the other person with whom Napoleon used to keep on, there used to be debates, and eventually Napoleon sends these dogs behind his own, animal, you can say, once upon a time working together on the rebellion against the humans, once upon a time, discussing and debating, he sends the guard dogs. How did he build the guard dogs suddenly? He, says that I'll take special care of these puppies myself. Karke, he brought a bunch of puppies from a mother, and then from there he started training them, and eventually he made them on his side, and he made them full on fighters. And if anybody will say anything, they will start raising the slogans. The sheeps, basically, the sheeps are the animals who are not able to learn much, so they are giving the slogan all the time in middle of important discussions where it is getting heavy on Napoleon, or it might get heavy on Napoleon to answer. The sheeps will start shouting, 2 legs bad, 4 legs good, 4 legs good, 2 legs bad. They will shout repeatedly. Then you remember that windmill concept. So for that windmill concept, Snowball was so much for the concept, and Napoleon was so much against that, modern times you can say, bill, that eventually Napoleon sends dog after Snowball. But after that, he himself says that now let us make the windmill, and slowly and steadily he makes everybody believe that Snowball is bad. Snowball escapes that attack somehow. He makes everybody believe that Snowball is bad, and Snowball was fighting for the animal farm. He was fighting in the rebellion, but this Napoleon will make everybody believe that Snowball is the enemy. Snowball, anything happens, put the blame on Snowball. Anything happens, put the blame on one of the 2 neighboring farms. So this was the strategy of Napoleon. You will relate it to modern world politics when you are reading this particular book. And then eventually Sunday afternoon work, which was voluntarily to be done, but if somebody will not do, then their rations will be halved. So imposing work on Sundays as well, and life became same as it was under the rule of humans. Like the hen, they had to give up their eggs, and trade started with the neighboring farms. Though the animals were manipulated, that it is not for commercial purpose, it is just for, say to obtain certain material, but eventually, actually it was for the commercial purpose only. The timber was sold and all these things happened, and however, on selling the timber, they received some fake currency, because of which war also happens. And after the war, what happens is, the pigs are enjoying, they are drinking alcohol and sleeping on those beds. Already they were sleeping on these beds, and when it came to the explanation, every time the spokesperson will manipulate that it is for the good of the animals. So much so that at one point the windmill was made and broken and remade even in a better way. However, in the entire process, one of the important characters, who was a horse, he died. After his death, this Napoleon sends him to the slaughterhouse, which was against the principles. So after the death, there is no value. But he was hardworking. He always used to say that I will work hard, I will work hard. This statement was carried on further also. And everybody was inspired that, okay, you should work hard, just like a dead boxer. And boxer used to say that Napoleon is right, Napoleon is right. So you all should also always believe that Napoleon is right. So that is how Napoleon eventually established the same thing, what it was under the humans' rule, only the face has changed. In the end, what happens is, this Napoleon, he was already into trade with other farms nearby, right? So eventually what happens is, China से मत Chinese phone मत खरीदो, Chinese phone मत खरीदो, पर आपका सबसे बड़ा partner जो sell कर रहा है सबसे सस्ता laptop, that itself is made in China. Eventually, the trade which is happening, the highest trade is happening with humans only. And eventually what happens is, they have trade parties where both the pigs are walking on two legs, they are wearing clothes like humans, and they are wearing clothes of Mr. Jones, whose farm it was initially. They are drinking alcohol, they are sleeping in the bed, and all these 7 proverbs, all these 7 commandments that were given, it was summarized, and in the end there was only one proverb that was left, that all animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others. So what happens in this entire novel is that, what happens in this entire book is that, how the power is transferred from humans to animals, but still even after that there is ignorance, there is greed, there is wickedness, because of which these pigs or even the animals only turn against animals. For are there colonies where at one point of time, obviously very bad, you are making colony out of another nation, very bad happened, but after the removal of those, say, Europeans or anybody else who is making them a colony, their own people are making the other people not equal. You might relate it to international politics at many point of time. If you have even the slightest of interest in polity, please consider reading 2 books to begin with. One is Animal Farm, another is 1984, both the books by George Orwell. Thank you, everyone.